Hey guys, thanks for joining. If you're new to this particular stream, this live stream, we stream this every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So this is our shelter-in-place color pencil drawing stream. While you're on house quarantine, stay-at-home order, fill in the blank, whatever it is in your state or neck of the woods, then we're just trying to pass the time here by drawing together. We're doing a facial feature, and we're on this nose right now. If you'd like to follow along, you can draw this particular nose. It's over there under sharpenedartist.com/livestreams, and I think there's a link down below in the description there. Okay. I'm hoping maybe we'll get done tonight with this. I think you get just a little bit closer here. Let me know if my head starts going in the frame. I don't want that to happen. That would not be good. Okay. Oh, Sergi man, thanks for showing up here. Yeah, it's pretty late where you are, isn't it? So, thanks for making the sacrifice here, showing up. Okay, so we started kind of blending things together a little bit. And we also started burnishing a little bit with white and with champagne. That's wheat right there. I'm not sure we'll really even use wheat, but champagne, we started using that. Again, by way of reminder, we're using a limited palette. So we're using the 24 set of the Derwent Lightfast pencils. And this is on Smooth Bristol 400 series 4-ply paper. I'm going to just go ahead and take that as a compliment there, Sergi man. That's funny. So if you're watching over on YouTube, Sergi's over on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, then I'm talking to Sergi. He is over on YouTube, and that may be why you're not seeing his comments, but appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching the replay, welcome. And the next drawing stream we're going to do will be this Monday. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to draw a mouth with teeth is what we'll do. And so that should be a lot of fun. Okay, let's see here. I noticed now when I started to blend this down, I didn't test a whole lot anywhere else. I'm feeling it out. I'm figuring it out as I go. Not the way that I would recommend doing a full serious drawing. But when you're doing a study, there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, what I've found is that I need more red and more purple in here. Yes, a female mouth, Sergi man, is what we're going to do. I think. I'm looking at a few of my references. I take reference photos all the time, so I have a lot to choose from, but I think I've got it narrowed down to probably a female mouth with teeth showing. So that should be fun. Okay, let's get some of this right in here. Certain colors, and you're going to find this if you're brand new to colored pencil, but for those of us who have been doing it a while, you know what I'm talking about. Certain colors will, they've got a softer core than others, and you can keep layering some of those softer colors on top of areas that you even pressed really hard, to the point of burnished. So it's interesting how that happens. Okay, I'm thinking that. Yeah, good question. Sergi Man's asking what would be some of the challenges that I encountered working on this Bristol 400 series. One of the biggest challenges, I think, is that is such a thin tooth on there. So I'm not going to be able, I wasn't able to build up as many layers on this paper. I quickly ran out of room to keep layering. And so I had to make decisions pretty quickly. And then now, only a few layers in, I'm at the point of burnishing. Hey, Linda, how are you? Good to see you here. All right. Thanks, Harry. Glad you're here. Okay, let's do this. Let's show some of the detail down here. A little early to show a lot of detail, but it's fun, right? And we could even use the battery-operated eraser to try to get a few more things in here. That is something that's possible. Lighten that up just a little bit right there. There we go. All right. I'm thinking that white is probably going to be better down there. I've got to sharpen it. Harry from Scotland over there joining us on Facebook Live. Thanks for being there. Okay, now see if we can do this without breaking the pencil, since it's got such a long point on it now. There we go. Okay. And let me see here. I'll look at doing this. More of this red right in here. Let me zoom in just a little bit since we're in some real tight little details here. Maybe you can make a comparison though if I zoom out enough where you can see the reference. Right in here, and it'll come up here like this. There we go. There we go. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate you coming out here over there on Facebook Live. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl is quite an accomplished artist, someone who has motivated me and influenced me for years now. A couple of years ago, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but she had a solo show over in, I think it was Evendale, suburb here of Cincinnati. I had no idea she had done that many pieces, though. Just, I go to that show, and it's just like tons of colored pencil drawings everywhere. I could not believe that. She had a solo show there at that event. It was amazing. Some I didn't know about. I didn't know she did until I went to that show, obviously. It's incredible. Remember one in particular was of an Amish buggy on a street with some strong reflections because it was like after a rain. So good. Oh yeah, absolutely, Cheryl. I don't know what you called that one with the Amish wagon, but that was incredible. So I'm guessing maybe you took that reference maybe around Millersburg or something like that over here in Ohio. I don't know. We've got a lot of Amish communities in suburbs of Ohio, but a very, very compelling piece. And a very respectful piece, too, I might add, because it was of the buggy from behind. I hope that was you that did that one. Hope I'm remembering that right. I think it was. But anyway, it was incredible. Okay, that is a little bit lighter down there. Quite a bit lighter, actually. And maybe too light, but a little bit of drama there. Oh, okay, close to Berlin. Oh, like it's raining right now. Yeah. Tell you, yeah, we've got some pretty neat communities around us here. Okay. The Amish community, there would be some pretty cool reference photos that you could take with some of those well, not artifacts, but the the things that they create, maybe some of their furniture and things like that. The people themselves and the way that they live their lives, is sort of a throwback, right, to a different time and era where things were a little more simple and not as complicated. So it's cool. Oh, I bet you do. Cheryl's over on Facebook. She says she has millions of reference photos. Motivation is what she needs, as she says. That's funny. Lost me. Hey, Carol, how are you? Carol says she lost me. Okay. Let's see here. Did you lose me because I started talking about the Amish? All right. I want to hint a little bit of purple in that. Tint that just a little bit. Put a hint of that purple right in there. Oh, I'm back. Okay. So, did everybody lose me? Is Facebook doing something weird? Am I getting censored or something? You know how controversial I am. Whoa, I just broke that. I'm having to press really hard and I just broke that lid. I don't like it when that happens. Okay, so Cheryl, you didn't lose me, but Carol did lose me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Carol. Error message. That's no good. Okay, let's see here. Maybe we can use this lighter color here. Oh, you're welcome, Renee. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Glad it's helpful. It's a lot of fun, to be honest. But I do like to hear feedback. I like to know if it's actually helping, if people are enjoying it. Okay, that's good to know. Let's do this. This area right in here needs to be a little bit lighter in some of these spots. Right down here. Man, if I didn't limit my palette so much, there's some colors I want to grab so bad, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, got to use white up here since I went so dark. And if I keep doing that, breaking this lid, I think I'm going to switch to my other sharpener since I'm using harder pressure. Sometimes that's a good thing to do. Don't use your long point sharpener when you're going to be pressing this hard because you're just wasting your pencils if you're breaking them. You can't press real hard on a really long dagger, right? It's not going to work out too well, obviously. Okay. It'll give me enough white right there, and I can add some of the red on top. Now, the interesting thing about this red is it will go on very easily. Light pressure. Very different from when I'm using this purple and the salmon and the white. Why is that? Well, it's got a different different consistency. The core is so much different from the rest. Probably not, Harry. I went a little darker than what I wanted to, only because, I wasn't anticipating that it would be this dark when I blended. So yeah, learn from that mistake. If you're going to use this paper, guys, if you've not used this paper before. Although, yeah, I think it'll work out. I think it'll be fine because I know how to get around it. The thing I don't like, and what I would have done differently, even more so, Harry, is I would have, if I'm doing an actual larger project on this paper, I would have tested more with the skin color, skin tones. And I could have done that before I started this, but I just didn't. Because one thing that's happening, I'm not sure it's showing on here, but it's looking a little more orange than what I wanted. So, wow, Linda's saying it was 106 degrees over there yesterday, and she is in Nevada. She's in Arizona, I believe, or New Mexico. She might be, for some reason I can't remember at the moment. Okay. I had some more of this purple in here. Yeah, I'm going to use that smaller sharpener. There we go. So I've got more of a blunt point. Arizona. That's it. That's where Linda is. Okay. Yeah, it looks like really I need to use that heather more. The red, I do like the way that red lays down, but that scarlet red, I think that's scarlet, isn't it? Yeah. It has a little bit too much, and it could be just the layers that I've built up, but it gives me too much of an orange tint. So, yeah, it is what it is. At this point, I would have used some different colors, but the point is to do the study and make do with what we have, what we're using here. So I'm going to follow the values more than anything else. So we've got some white right in here. I'm going to kind of do a little outline for myself. Kind of like that is what I'm seeing. That way I can kind of follow that a little bit. Yeah, I prefer, Linda's asking, do I prefer using a lot of colors or a limited amount. And I prefer just a limited amount, but I prefer having the option of adding more in later, especially if I'm going to work intuitively. Now, with a new person in colored pencil just starting out, if you're a new artist and you're starting out, then I think it's very possible to just buy a small set of pencils. And so this is what I was trying to illustrate here, is that you can use a small amount of pencils, like the 24 set of the Lightfast pencils, and you can still create some compelling pieces when you do that. Okay, let's use that heather this time instead. Okay, there we go. All right, so if I use that red right in there, then I'm going to use it even more up in here, just so that I have some continuity then in the piece. By the time it's all said and done, nobody's looking at, when they're looking at the finished piece and the finished drawing, you know, they're looking at my piece, my drawing. They're not looking at the reference. And so everything needs to be within balance inside your drawing, inside what you're doing in your particular drawing. And so I used a lot of red down here. So I'm going to use a lot of red up in here as well, just so that there's more continuity in the entire piece. And I'm just lightly putting some of that red in there. I think that's probably enough. It can be more red right in here anyway. And then let me sharpen this again. Okay. Gives me a blunt point even sharpening it like that. So I can use that sandpaper there and sharpen that up even more. It keeps breaking. I need to do this a little more vertically. There we go. I know there are artists, colored pencil artists, that use this paper all the time. And if I used it all the time, maybe I would enjoy it more. But to be honest, it's not. This paper is, to me, it's restricting, and there's just some things that that I would really miss if I were only using this paper, or if I use this, you know, primarily all the time. It just doesn't leave you a lot of opportunities. When you build up the layers, you get to a point, and then it says, okay, that's it, no more. You've done enough. You can't go anymore. Harry's asking, why do you not put down the reds first and add shadows? The reds first. So I put shadows in first, didn't I? Is that what you're meaning? And then why didn't I just use red mostly, and the purples and all of that, and then add the shadows? This is typically the way that I work. I like to start showing the definition and form early on in the process. with this particular paper, it's less forgiving. And so in a study like this, I wasn't sure, how dark, and apparently in some of those areas I might have gone a little darker than what I wanted. Although I think we can still claim victory by the time we're done. We'll see. But yeah, most of the time, Harry, I usually will build up the shadows and show the form and where the dimensional curves are and all of that first. If I use red, wouldn't have been a bad way to go either. Could have done that with red. But if I use, I'm trying to get a dark color, or at least the darker side of the mid-range values. If I start with very, very light colors, there's nothing wrong with that. I know some artists do that. Then I can't hardly even see what I'm working on. I mean, it's just so light, and it's hard to tell what I'm doing whenever I'm working that light. And some people I know just go in and build up all of the local value first, and they start working on the local value and all those local colors and all the predominant hue that they're seeing and all that, and then they work in the shadows later. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's just not something that I like to do. I like to build up the shadows first, or pretty early on, and then just keep developing them even as I'm working on the piece and adding more to it. Now this is where sharpening that with that sandpaper a little bit too much. I'm getting it to a little tiny point, and then it wants to break that little tiny point. This is where, though, you could make a good argument for using those little comb sharpeners. I know some people love those things. I don't particularly like them. I don't really like them that much, but for burnishing, things like that, especially if you're on the road, on the go, and you're not in your studio, then I could see those being adequate, and using those would be just fine. But it's such a sharp, quick taper to your pencil lead that doesn't really work for me for larger pieces. Okay, let's look at this, and we'll put that red back in there a little bit here. Some of those areas. Let me blow this off. Got a little bit of dust going on there. All right. So I want to come back in here and put a little bit of that red inside that white area so that it looks like that all belongs and is blended rather than me seeing a line right there. I'm starting to see a little bit of a line. There we go. Yeah, I wish I had a different pink color in this set, but pink is so hard to do. Apparently, there's just not many pinks in colored pencil, are there? Apparently, that's a tough one. Pinks, violets, blues, certain blues are hard to do. Hard to make color fast. Hard to make light fast, and make it to where it's something different. I mean, you'll have one pink, maybe 2, 3 at the most. Just not very many, and not a large selection typically. Okay, let's work in this white over here a little bit. Pressing pretty hard at this point. So I am curious if any of you guys use this paper all the time. Is this your go-to paper? I'd love to know that. And if so, I'd also like to know what are the properties or characteristics of the paper that you enjoy, that you like the most. Okay. Probably come in here with my champagne color. So Cheryl, this paper is Strathmore Bristol Smooth, the 400 series 4-ply. So it's a very, very thick, hard paper, 4-ply paper, and it has a very smooth surface. So not a lot of tooth on it. Not a lot of margin. You're done pretty quick with it. I don't know if you've used that or not. It's probably not one I'm going to be using very often. I've used it before, but just not very often. And I bought it thinking maybe I would use it, but there's just so many other good papers that give you a lot more options. Yeah, I'm with you there, Linda. Linda's saying over on YouTube Live that she likes pastel matte. So Cheryl says, excuse me, she's used it for flowers. That's cool. Did you like it, Cheryl? I just think that there's some other papers that I'm a little more impressed with. I'll just put it that way. And you know how it is. When you get used to some papers, then switching to other papers is it feels foreign to you. It starts to feel weird. Make this a little bit brighter right in there, since that connects right there. Yeah, Cheryl is saying that it's not her go-to paper. She enjoyed it, but it's not her go-to paper. She likes UArt the best, so sanded paper. Yep. Yeah, you just can't beat sanded paper. There's just so many advantages that sanded paper has, in my opinion. And I'm an expert, in my opinion. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, we're going to add more of that purple over there. And lighten that up over there. Let me sharpen this. Okay. I was going to look for my battery operated eraser. Might be right here. I must have had it out recently. Ah, here it is. batteries are working. So I really like this one. This is by AFMAT. It has 2 different nibs that you can put in it. And so this one's very, very tiny. So if you want to add a little bit of texture on the surface, you can do that. And it'll probably peel away some of those layers. Yeah. Just wanted to see how that would work. Kind of nice. Okay. So over here I could do that. You can use it to make some striation marks. Yeah, it's pretty nice, Cheryl. I really like it. And look for where those highlights are, right in there. Now see, we could have done this a long time ago, but I wanted to see what that tooth of that paper would do. The nice thing, though, about this paper, because it's 4-ply, is that it will hold up to a lot of abuse like this. Okay, the other thing you can do. I could see that, Harry. Harry's saying he uses this paper for graphite portraits, and that makes a lot of sense. You can use this sand eraser by Mono. So the sand eraser has some grit in it. And I think you can see this. After I'm done, I'll move my hand. But you can take off some of those layers with this. And it's more in a very even kind of fashion when it does that. Now you can go too far and you can start to scrub the fibers of the paper also if you're not, too careful with it. But the nice thing on this paper is it's 4-ply, so there's a lot of tooth, or not tooth. There's a lot of paper, just a rigid paper that is. I'm just trying to sharpen that a little bit. That if you do dig down into the fibers of the paper, you're not going to just destroy it. Oh, hey, Shiny is joining us. Okay, let me go back over this way. Well, this is interesting. This is fun. Get a little more of that. Taken up right there. Okay, and then I'm going to push that a little bit over here, just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now I can go ahead and push that, or remove that with my air rocket. Okay, now I can come back over here and blend that other side just a little bit by removing some of that. Now, I'm not down to the paper yet, but nearly. Now see, this should illustrate that there's always ways of getting something back to where we want it. Usually always. I'll say always with a caveat there, because if you're one of those people that tear things up, I'm not going to tell you not to do that. Some people like to do that. It's one of these cathartic type of exercises that they go through. But I think there's a lot of times there are ways to start correcting things if you need to. And with this, what we can do is just start leaning everything back in a lighter direction in some of these areas if we want. And we could even do this over here towards the ball of the nose. Where I want it to be a little softer, I can use some circular kind of strokes with this eraser. There we go. You can kind of feel it and hear it when it starts to dig into the paper. So you'll know if you're going a little bit too far, you know. All right. So, Yulia, thanks for joining us over there on YouTube Live. What's the difference between Pastel Matte 400 and Bristol? So Pastel Matte is made... Bristol is smoother than Pastel Matte. Well, I shouldn't say that. Bristol Smooth is smoother than Pastel Matte. The Bristol, is a paper type that comes in other finishes, so it doesn't always come in smooth. But I think what we were talking about earlier and what I'm working on is Bristol Smooth by Strathmore. And so you can buy Bristol Vellum and other types of surfaces. And when you're talking about Pastel Matte, then you're talking about a paper that's made by Clairefontaine. That's a registered trademark, the paper they make, which is called Pastel Matte. And it has this very rigid surface on it, made by this cellulose layer. And it's very enjoyable to work on that paper. I think it's easy. It just makes everything easy when you're working on that paper. It's a non-absorbent surface, and so you can keep going over it, time and time again with, more layers. And so if you don't like something, go over it again with a layer of pencil that you like. It has those kinds of advantages to it. Okay, I kind of like that. This is giving me more of that heather color in there. And then we still have enough variation in some of the colors and the tones that we can create some texture on here. So this can be very dark over here, so I can use more of my darker colors over there. But I'm going to put a little more red right there. I don't want to put too much because, again, like I said, it has this sort of orange kind of color to it. And we'll use this again. Lean that back just a little bit. There we go. All right. Now I just don't have anything more pink. Yulia's asking about would I say that Bristol Smooth is better for portraits and botanicals than Pastel Matte? No, I don't know that I would say that. It's really just a difference in preference, Yulia, because I really enjoy Pastel Matte a lot. It's a very forgiving paper, and one you can work on and rework a lot of areas. And so I think you can draw just about any subject matter on any surface. So I would if I were you, if you're wanting to draw both of those subject matters, I would try both of those papers and then see what you think. See which one you like the best. Because it kind of has something to do with, just your temperament, your preferred style of creating. If you're somebody that likes to work intuitively a little bit and not plan out every little thing right from the very beginning, then pastel mat is a great way to go. If you like to just be very regimented about every decision and have all that mapped out and planned out right from the beginning, then I think Bristol Smooth would probably be a great way to go, because you can get a lot of little details in there by being very precise, Okay, let's look at this, and I want to push that over there. And I'll use this. Well, you know what? I think I'll use this blue again. I haven't used that in a while. It's not as dark as that violet. So maybe that's a better thing to do, is to use that. Yeah. Oh, very cool, Yulia. That's interesting. Good to know. Yeah, I would love to know what your thoughts are after you use it. Report back. Because it'd be interesting to find out if you end up liking that. You might really enjoy it a lot. Let's go right in here. Put this purple here. And then I can put this salmon color right there. Okay. I am going to have to resort back to this violet just a little bit. I want to look at this area right here and think about how it's formed. But like I said, it's not like anybody is examining all of that. Yeah. So Shiny's also saying she hasn't tried pastel mat either. Yeah, I really think that if you've not tried pastel mat, you should actually really give that a shot. Yeah, that's yeah. Hello Shiny is asking if you can put wet on pastel mat. Yeah, you can put water on pastel mat. You can put OMS on pastel mat. It's one of the best advantages that you have with that particular support. Actually, when you use a solvent, whether it be water or OMS or something, on pastel mat, you feel like that you're just painting. It is that fluid when you start adding water to that surface, or solvent like OMS. It's kind of amazing. It's such a different experience than when you're using, paper, when you're doing something on paper. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Shiny, you should actually try that. See what you think about it. Yeah, it's different. It's very different, but if you're used to a paper where it's not very forgiving, then when you go to pastel matte, you're going to feel like you've got a new lease on life. I mean, there's just so many things that you're going to be able to do and switch and change and work intuitively that you weren't able to do before. That it's kind of an incredible thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's something I would encourage you to at least try, though, Shiny. See what you think about it. And then report back. Let us know what you think. Okay. Maybe what I'll do then on Monday is maybe we'll draw on pastel matte. That might be a fun thing to do. Is work on pastel matte, and you can actually add light colors, lighter colors over dark colors on pastel matte, and you can do that on sanded paper as well. Actually, on sanded paper, it works moderately better even than it does on pastel matte. So that is something to that is an advantage that it has. Okay, I went a little dark here. Now see, on a sanded paper or pastel matte, I wouldn't have to erase this at all. And on a lot of papers, I wouldn't be able to erase, like we talked about. Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll probably do that then, Julia. We'll probably just do that on pastel matte then. I love working on pastel matte. The only thing negative for me, I would say, about pastel matte at all is that it's expensive for me, and I have to have it, shipped from the UK, and so it takes a long time to get it. I've got some in stock. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I probably would work on it even more if I didn't have those things against me with it. It's a little more expensive than some of the other papers. And getting it shipped, it takes a while to get it. I can find it in one store around here, but it's actually cheaper to get it online. So I'll be getting it online every time I buy it, probably. Okay. Let's see here. I think I can get it from Amazon, but it's still shipped from the UK, Linda. Even on Amazon. I think I have got it on Amazon before, but it's shipped from the UK, so it takes long. It gets on a boat, I believe, and it takes longer. It takes a long time to get it, or it has for me anyway. Yeah. If Blick has it in stock, and locally in stock, then they'll ship it. But I don't know that that's ever happened for me. And Blick is a store I can get it from up here, and it's more expensive. Yeah, I hear you on that, Shiny. My favorite paper is sanded paper, though, and so yeah, I don't. I really love using that. So, Linda, you're saying you see it on Amazon and you can get it in 2 to 3 days? Wow! I'll have, as soon as we're off here, I'm probably gonna check that out. If you're talking about Pastel Mat by Claire Fontaine, then I'm probably gonna check that out because that's a real find right there. Then, if you're able to do that. Really? Did you add it to your cart and hit yes, ship it now and all that? You might get a message later on saying, oops, this is going to be 3 weeks. But let me know. Okay, let's take a look here. All right. So I think we'll go ahead and burnish this over here a little bit. Wow, that sounds fun, shiny. Very cool. There's a pastel company in Cincinnati that I got to go to one time. I don't know if Cheryl's still on here or not, but Great American. I think it's called Great American. Yeah. It's they make their pastels right up here in Cincinnati. And anyway, that was a lot of fun getting to go there and do that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we've got to add this heather color now. And we're going to pretend like that we're getting close to the color that we want over here. You know, if we weren't using the limited palette, and if we went beyond the limited palette, I want to fix that nostril here in a minute. But if we went beyond the limited palette and started just using colors that we wanted, then there are some definite changes that we would be making. But it's not all about the color. It really isn't. It is more about the values anyway. And so sometimes you have to be happy or satisfied, I guess I should say, with colors that you have and what you've got down. Keep sharpening this. Okay. Add a little more variation in here, just to show a little bit of texture. And now you guys got me all excited about working on Pastel Mat and starting that new drawing. I think we will do that probably Monday. We'll go ahead and start that drawing. We'll draw a mouth with teeth on starting on Monday, so that should be a lot of fun. And I just want to look around at this, and let's see this little area. So I don't want to go too dark because I don't want it to look, out of balance. But this dark line right in here, it is pretty dark. And so I want to fade that into this area over here by the septum, right underneath the nostril. And as I move away from that edge, I'll lighten up my pressure. I'm going to pull this back over here as well. Make sure I'm still in the frame there. Yeah, we are. Okay, and I'll add this right up to there. And I need it to be darker right there at that edge, and then fade away from there. So Yulia, there is just plain white paper in pastel matte, but there's also the colored paper as well, and I do have both. I think most of the time what I'm doing is I'm working on just the white paper, but I've worked on the colored paper as well. So it's fun to work on colored paper once in a while, right? Let's do this. Okay, let's look around here a little bit, and maybe right in there add maybe a little bit of this white. And then some white up in here. Maybe down in here. Okay. Now that white does blend it together a little bit more than what it was before. Okay. Looking at it on that smaller screen, though, does help a lot. I can look at what it's looking like over there on my broadcaster screen. That does help. Okay, let's push that right in here. Okay. And let's see where this is. It's right up here. I think something like that down in here. And if I can use this ruby earth, yeah, ruby earth right over here. Kind of forgot about my ruby earth here for a little while. That might have been a better choice than the scarlet in this case. That scarlet just has too much orange in it. Whoops, I'm pressing too hard. Okay. Push this out just a little bit. Yeah, there's a pink in the Carandosh line that I really want to grab so bad. But we don't need it. It just makes me feel better. Now, in the expanded set of the Derwent Lightfast, you do have some good pinks. Not a lot, but you have some other options there. Maybe one or two. I can't remember exactly. I'm looking at them over there, but there are more than what you get in the 24 set. But I think it's important to be able to learn how, just to limit your palette like that. Okay. Now, let's do this. Let's look at, I know we've been out here doing this for a little while, but I want to try something here and just add a little bit of this red on top, since it's the only red we have, and then we'll add some textural effects with that eraser. We'll just see what we get here. Let me see where that is. Yeah. Yeah, that Artagon, or however you pronounce that. Yeah, I have used that before, Linda. And you know, it's okay. Do you like it? It's just not one I've used a lot. I tell you what, I did something in black with a black Artagon paper, and it was okay. It was all right. It's probably just not one that I'm going to use a whole lot of, but I've seen some people do things on it that look really interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember offhand what I thought about the surface at the moment. It's been a few years actually since I used it, but if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's kind of a rigid surface, but it has more of a definite tooth to it, definite pattern on the tooth. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong about that. Okay, that should be enough, and then we'll try adding a little bit of texture with that eraser, just to see what that looks like. What did I do there? Need that filled in. Okay, there we go. All right. That's a little bit too white for me. Whoops. Keep pressing too hard. Okay, let me grab that salmon. All right. And now, one more thing before we say we're done. I'm just going to see if I can do this. I'm going to extend that little nib just a little bit, not that far. Maybe right there. Push that back down. And if I press too hard, or if I press too long, I can get just a big old white hole, and I don't want that. Just want some textural effects right in there. Blow that a little bit. And then I will soften those just a little bit by adding that salmon on top. There we go. And let's see. Maybe over here. don't want to add too many. I don't want to create a whole bunch of pores on this nose. That wouldn't help anything. Okay. I'm going to soften those areas that might look a little too red. Well, that was a lot of fun. Just adding those. And it does add a little bit of realism to it. Too much of a line right there, but you know, for a study, I'm satisfied with it. Probably could, you know, take a little more time and develop some of that area right in there with some more of a dimensional form right in there. But you know, we could spend a lot of time on this and get some moderate effects that would spell out some, you know, mild improvements. So I don't know that it's worth doing that on a study, right? But oh, thank you, Yulia. Appreciate that. But you know, for a study, I think this was a lot of fun. It was most fun because you joined me, and you were here, guys. That made it a lot of fun for me, and makes it enjoyable when we can share like this together and do art together. And again, if you're interested in grabbing if you want the reference photo again, you can go over to sharpenedartist.com/livestreams, and the reference will be over there for you to download. And so that's something that, you know, I would encourage you to do if you're wanting to kind of follow along. And I'll have the reference that we'll use on Monday as well. And I don't know when I'll have it up there. I'm not going to have it up there today, I know that. Hopefully I'll have it up there sometime over the weekend, though, so that we'll be we'll be good to go and ready to start on Monday. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. Shiny's saying, do you try to use polychromos to get the dots and pores, or just whatever pencil you have handy? Yeah, no, I don't. I don't usually try to specify a particular pencil on something like that because there's so many factors, right, Shiny? I mean, there's so many things that would factor into that. I know some artists they only use a certain paper type, they only use certain pencils, but I usually don't do that. Usually a little looser in my approach on things and a little more intuitive as I work. That's just my personality. There's nothing better about that or worse, I don't think. Maybe there's something worse about it. You might could argue that. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me again. We'll do this again on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. And you guys have a great night and stay sharp. Bye-bye.